Let's get all sorted. I'm James.
And I'm Jeff. Today we head down to the city and see how things have changed.
As always, if you want to check out links to everything we're talking about today, head over to breakingdads.com.
BreakingDads.com?
Breakingdads.com.
You can also leave us a comment there or find us on Twitter. I'm at Still Sorting.
And make sure to check out our Lego review videos on YouTube if you want to see short, fun little videos of us poking Lego.
Yep, knocking them over and
talking about their finer points.
Yes. Good times will be had by all.
We're really selling this.
Yeah, yes.
Your eyes will be happy.
Yes, normally we just tickle your ears, and now we can also
jab you forcibly in the ocular.
That sounds about right. Yeah. Today we're talking about Lego City, and City is easily Lego's most important theme. Starting with the first town sets in 1978, there has been at least one town or city set released every year since. We'll do future episodes on the many different sub-themes of town and city that have happened over the years, but today we're going to look at the evolution of City over the years, as it really demonstrates the evolution of Lego as a company. So let's go back to the beginning, shall we?
It sounds good. I'm excited about this one. This is going to be a lot of fun digging.
Yes.
There's a lot of episodes that are going to spawn from this.
Yes.
I sense work already. As do you.
Yeah. Oh, City, I should put my bias out there up front. City is my favorite non-superhero theme.
Right.
And really, I just look at the superhero sets as an extension of City, really.
Yeah, really.
Because without that, the real world around them, it's just a bunch of people in tights flying around, and that's less exciting.
Superhero theme is just a suburb in City.
That's right. But let's go, like I say, back to the beginning. The roots of Lego City run back a lot farther than 1978. The seeds of City start all the way back in 1954. You see, Lego was having a hard time selling their plastic toys, as consumers still preferred wooden or metal toys. Plastic was new, and it smelled weird, and it felt weird, and they just didn't know what to do with it. So this led to a lot of Lego shipments to be returned due to poor sales. Lego founder Ole Kirk Christensen's son, Gottfried, was now a junior managing director of the Lego Group, and he was presented with the idea of a toy system with many toys in a line of related products in a conversation with an overseas buyer.
And what did he have to say?
He thought, okay, if we can get a system that people will buy, then we can sell stuff. That would be great. So as he thought about it, he realized that their interlocking plastic bricks would make a great toy system, so he set to work. The System I Leg, or System of Play in English, was unveiled at the Nuremberg Toy Fair in February 1955. So it didn't take them long to put everything together that they wanted to.
No, he saw the future.
Yes, and so he came up with the town plan. And it originally consisted of all of the existing Lego Mursten, or Lego brick sets, and then also several new HO scale accessories and a vinyl playmat. So adding some more space ageness with the mat. By 1957, they'd released the town plan board in plastic, masonite. They would also add wood as a form that it came in. And they continued to add new town plan building sets and accessories till about 1966. The board itself was pretty cool. It was just basically a cityscape with streets and areas for you to put your Lego buildings up on.
Well, it's interesting, the idea of how people's perceptions of what a toy was, and I guess going from the local or more local toy manufacturers and the idea of things that last forever, which are wood, versus early plastics and things that would even probably within their lifetimes easily break, or like Bakelite and things like that.
Yeah, that's how they perceived it, for sure.
So it's interesting that now we perceive Lego as being this thing that will never go away.
Yes.
And yeah, it's weird to put our mindset back to a time when people were like, "What is this?"
Yeah, it's because for us it's always existed. It seems like it's always been there. So it's weird to think of a time when you had to sell it to people as a thing. I did like that as a company, Lego has always taken feedback and tried to improve their product. And this was evident even back then as they used feedback from customers. And that's how they decided to improve the brick design by adding the now familiar hollow tubes to the underside of the brick, giving you the much needed clutch power and increasing construction versatility.
I think they could hear the tears of children all over the world who were picking up their toys or their creations to show their parents and being like, Mom, Dad, look at this. Oh, it just fell apart
under the old blocks. You wouldn't pick them up.
No,
because
exactly.
They're designed so they wouldn't slide side to side.
Yeah,
but up down had nothing.
No,
and then also because they didn't have that clutch power, the old town plan sets were about building buildings,
right?
And then they gave you the die-cast cars to move around in that world. So all the vehicles were made from pre-made things. So didn't quite have the same ability to build as much as you can now. But by 1966, after giving us the system of play, Lego was now being sold in 42 countries. They were no longer producing the town plan sets, but 1966 did introduce what would become an important city sub-theme for years to come: trains. That's when we got our first trains, 1966.
Wow.
And the early trains would feature a 4.5-volt battery-powered motor that you'd have to physically turn off and on the train itself. In later years, they would add the 12-volt and the 9-volt metal track-operated ones, remote control trains, and the power function trains.
Yeah, I'd love to get into all the controversy over trains now, but we'll have to do a whole trains episode.
Yes.
A whole year's worth of trains episodes to cover the different changes and things in this. But it's interesting how it's part of the city set, yet is kind of a departure in its own.
Yeah, over the years, the different trains they've released have been part of the town or city sub, like a sub-theme within it, or sometimes part of the basic lines, or it's weird. They've always done trains, but they haven't been very consistent with where they place the trains.
Yeah.
But trains are just fun in general.
They are.
Yes. Anyway, moving on. In 1969, Lego introduced the Legoland theme, which was, I think, one thing I love whenever I do these histories of Lego products. Lego's generally very terrible at coming up with names.
Just on the nose.
Yeah, I don't know. It's Legoland. It's I feel like it has a very different connotation now than then. Like now you think of it as a theme park because of the Legoland theme parks, I think.
Were they just playing off of Disney at the time?
I honestly have no idea. My guess is they're like, we'll build a world of Lego.
Right.
It'll be a land of Lego.
Land of.
Or maybe it's this whole idea of just trying to come up with stuff that works in many different languages.
That could be it.
Yeah.
That has a bit of like Lego land.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those 2 4-letter words jammed together. They have the L's that bounce you along.
Yeah.
It rolls off the tongue nicely.
It ends on a good solid D. Is that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Legoland.
It is kind of satisfying as a word.
Yes.
Lego universe. Lego, like, I don't know. Yeah, I think it works.
It works.
It's suitable. It's passable.
I do love this theme as a theme. It really works for me. Legoland in general, it did include eventually some space and castle sets, but its main themes were what would become the core of town and city sets. They had airport, building, coast guard, construction, fire, gas station, harbor, hospital, police, and vehicles, which was a nice addition with all the wheels and moving parts that they were able to add now.
So that's a good wide variety of things.
Mm-hmm. But again, all of these things, other than the random couple of castles and space sets that they would have, are all things you would find in a nice town.
Yeah.
The buildings themselves are fantastic because it's 1969, and they have a very there's a house. We'll link to a house that a Canadian artist, Douglas Copeland, is obsessed with and has used in art gallery displays he's done. He calls it the modern house. It's just a beautiful house with a carport and a swinging gate in front. Really simple. When you look at it, you're like, that was built in the 60s for sure. Yeah. It's just got this very dated yet somehow on the nose look to the old Legoland sets.
Perfect American.
Yes. Yeah. Clean, symmetrical.
Ticky tacky.
Yeah. They're beautiful things. Legoland sets would remain devoid of people, though, until the introduction of the Legoland minifigure in 1975. Now, we covered this on our Lego minifigure episode, but they look very similar to the modern minifig, except that they only had a torso with no arms, legs that couldn't move, a headpiece with no face, and then a cap, which basically denoted what their role was.
So for years, the whole Legoland, the houses and all that stuff, it was like that Twilight Zone episode or whatever it was, where there's the atomic bomb waiting to happen. It's just, mannequins and stuff inside.
Or I thought, wasn't that the pilot episode where the guy, they're seeing if he can handle being alone and sending to space, and then he's having this dream where he comes back and there's nobody at all in the whole town? Isn't that?
Oh, I'm thinking the one where isn't it like a criminal escapes and he thinks he's found a town to hide in, and then he realizes
that's another good one.
It's an atomic bomb.
Yeah, that's a later one. That's a good one though. There's really aren't.
That's what you just conjured for me.
There aren't bad Twilight Zone episodes, are there?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
Yes.
Welcome to the Twilight Zone
Yes.
the podcast.
I'm going to move on because I feel like I could talk about the Twilight Zone for way too long now.
Editing gone wrong.
So Legoland, I'd say, was quite successful. They released 167 sets between 1969 and 1978. And then in 1978, Lego had now grown to over 2,500 employees.
Wow.
So I think you can call them a bona fide worldwide success at this point. In 1978, they release Lego Town.
Ooh.
So Town is one of the three core lines they released in 1978 with Castle and Space, and definitely their most enduring line. It gave us the first modern minifigure in Set 600, Police Car, which we've talked about this one before. It's great. You've got a sticker to decorate its torso, and then a car the police officer could not fit in.
Well, he had spent a little bit too much time at the donut shop.
I think so.
That's
I hope you like the design of this police car, because you could also get a fire chief with a car he could not fit in, which is basically the same car with different colors. And then a taxi with a taxi driver who could not fit in his taxi, let alone passengers.
Municipal non-helpers.
Or maybe these cars were just the precursor to the Google self-driving cars that we're going to see on the roads anytime now.
Yeah, I think that's it. Lego is just throwing its hat in really early in the whole autonomous car space.
Which I guess the people were just supposed to jump on the hood or something. I'm not entirely sure how they rode.
I think so.
With no doors or inside. While Town started as a reinvention of the old town plan sets, where the idea was that you could lay down road plates and build a town around them, the theme began to add sub-themes in 1985, some of which were sets you would not expect to find in the average town. So we'll go through the sets as they got introduced. In 1985, they would see airport.
Well, I can deal with
Makes
airport.
sense, yeah. You need an airport in your town. I mean, if you happen to be in Billund, where they make Lego, you've got the second largest airport in that country.
Wow.
Which is pretty good for a tiny, tiny town.
Yeah.
In 85, they released Race, which involved racing cars. Shocker on that one.
I guess some places.
I will say that for 1985, and Lego releasing a theme called Race.
Yeah, it could have been a bit.
Could have been really bad looking at some of their other sets. In 87, they released Flight, because, airport couldn't have covered that.
No.
This one involved planes and, of course, helicopters.
So helicopters, I guess. Well, because those could be anywhere, not just airports, Jeff.
Yes. And because if you've listened to our Erling episode, did I say his name right this time?
I think so.
That might be the first time. Our Erling episode, he invented that helicopter rotor piece, right? So they had to use it.
Yeah.
They built that mold. In 87, we saw Service and Repair, which was centered around car workshops, which is fun.
So maybe they were working on some kind of technology to make the cars expand so that the people could fit in them? Or
by this point, with the proper town sets and the proper minifigures, in the 80s, for sure, the figures were now fitting inside the cars.
Time
which
and
was quite
space
nice.
had finally come together.
Yes. I think somebody realized, they're like, hey, my kid doesn't know how to play with this.
He just keeps running over the police
Yes.
officer. This is terrible.
And then in 1991, they introduced Nautica, which was sort of harbor-themed line.
It sounds very adventurous. That's what I'm expecting.
Nautica, see, that's one of their outside the box names, right? Which I think was a nice thing.
They're just playing with that a little
as
bit.
opposed to race.
91. Yeah, race. I know. That's just the worst.
And then Rescue, they introduced, which ran from 91 to 96. And this was Fire and Police. They sort of put that under its own sub-theme for a while. And because Rescue wasn't quite good enough, they also released, I'm going to spell it out for you, RSQ 911. Yeah, Rescue 911.
Radical.
And this only ran from 91 to 92, and it was also fire and police emergency vehicles, but I imagine with a bit more edge.
I think we could see around the early 90s, they had some managers, I don't know, in their marketing department who were getting like, let's flare it up.
Yeah.
And Nautica, Rescue 911.
Yep. And then, of course, Paradisa, which we talked about in our Lego and the Trouble with Girls episode, which is... yeah, I don't know what else we can say about it. It gave us ponies.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
and beach resorts. There's some cool sets in this line, and it's definitely a departure for sure. Yeah,
I think we did. Yeah, was it our Lego and the Trouble with Girls episode?
Yes.
Yeah, that is. We talked about that at length.
Yes.
I don't know which episode number that was, but go back and enjoy that.
It was an earlier one. And then in 1995, Launch Command, which is
sounding awesome still.
Yeah, I mean, this one is, hey, let's send people into space. That makes sense, you know. So I think now we've got a lot of fire and police. We've got harbors. We've got Launch Command. I think for sure this is set in Florida. Legoland is our town. Lego Town is, I think, Florida is the town they were trying to be.
Yeah, I think that's what
it makes sense. Why would you need this much police unless, Florida?
Yeah.
So, in 1997, they gave us Divers. So this was an underwater theme, which is
totally makes
always
sense in
fun
Florida.
to see. Yep. And then in 97, Outback, which was like a desert-like thing.
And then they just changed continents.
It was, I mean, now you've got resorts and deserts and spaceports, and you would have a wicked town for the 90s. A wicked rad town? I don't know. What would be 90s? Would it be gnarly? Are we too late in the 90s?
Gnarly, wicked, rad, awesome.
Yeah. And then now we move into the late 90s. If Outback wasn't bad enough, this is when a lot of people think Lego sort of jumped the shark, as it were, as a company and started making the big mistakes with Town Junior. Town Junior was several sets that used simplified building techniques, but were still within the town theme. So this is back when Lego was receiving reports that some people didn't like to build with Lego. So they thought, hey, if we simplify our sets, the people that don't like to build will still build, right?
Yeah.
The logic is there. And then 1998, they introduced the Arctic theme, which was about Arctic explorers, which is another set they've revisited in the future, which is nice.
As Canadians, we're obliged to like this theme.
Well, anytime you get like a nice parka hat, that's I think when we as Canadians can relate to it for sure.
Children, finally, Lego for you.
That's right.
It broke from the cold.
Well, first you don't get to play with the Lego till they fed the sled dogs, right?
This is true.
And
practice their laps.
Made sure the polar bear repellent was put out. So now we're definitely into the late 90s for sure, because we also get Extreme Team, which is like stunt vehicles and drag racers and stuff.
Which, yeah.
For 1998, 99, I do admire the restraint in calling it Extreme Team with an E.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it's not a capital X and a small E or something.
I'm shocked.
We have some from this that we got from somebody, and I was just shaking my head when I was like, "What is this?" And then I looked up the part number. And I was like, "Really? Oh my goodness!"
Was it a poopy part?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some pretty amazing.
We're definitely into the era de poop.
Extreme
poop. And now we're still in 98, of course, where they're making all the best lines. And they're like, hey, you know what? It's nice that fire and police can have a rescue 911. I think we need to do sort of lifeguards and coast guards, but let's make them res-q. Yes, RES-Q. Rescue.
And everyone else was like, didn't we fire the person who came up with those other ones? It's 98. No, they're still lingering. This is their last dash. Guys, I got a great idea. Okay. It's going to be like Rescue, but it's going to have a Q at the end.
Yes.
Isn't this like that idea you had back in 91? No. Totally different. Totally different.
Look, guys, you didn't listen to me when I said it should be extreme, okay? You owe me one.
Sorry, Lego employee.
Yeah. Then they, in 99, they added City Center, which was a weird sub-theme of town that was similar to town itself. It was a weird, I guess because they had all these weird themes. They're like, no, we still have things you'd find in a town. Come to this town. And then in 99, they added Spaceport as well. So again, this is back going into space with spacecraft and space vehicles.
Sounds like a fun theme.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with space in general. And then in now this next one's a bit controversial. In 2003, 2004, they released World City. Some people see World City as a sub-theme of town. Some people see World City as its own theme, and sort of the bridges the gap between town and Lego City.
So we're gonna have to do again a whole episode on World City.
Very possibly. Now it only ran from 2003 to 2004.
We'll talk really slowly.
Yes.
How many sets were in that? Was it very many?
It was not too many. It was about 30 sets, I believe, altogether.
That's enough.
Yeah, a lot of them were promo. They did a lot of airports.
Wonder what prompted that.
Yeah, I don't know. Airlines willing to pay the money to put out sets that they could sell at the gift shop.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, like, what was going on in 2003, 2004? I don't know.
So as we've implied there, you can see Lego starts to lose their way as we move into the late 90s and early 2000s. They begin to focus on either simplifying the builds or trying to, and I'm going to use this word, poochify.
Poochify? Pouchify?
Poochify.
Poochify.
From The Simpsons, when they're introducing the new Itchy and Scratchy character, and they do the focus groups, and they come up with Poochie, the rad skateboarding dog.
Right. Yeah. That's
so
totally.
A lot of these sets have a rad skateboarding dog feel to them.
Totally.
So I think they're poochified. If that becomes a word, I'm going to be very excited. I honestly couldn't come up with any other way to describe what they were doing in my mind.
That's a doctoral thesis, the poochification of Lego.
If anybody ever writes that paper, please, I would like a copy of it. I would read that for sure. So Lego was at its best with the town sets when kids could recreate the world around them or the world as they'd like to see it.
I conceptually like all of this.
Yes.
I like the idea. I like what they were trying to do.
Even the extreme racers and the rescues.
You know what? Even those fellows have a place in Lego City town.
That's true. That's true.
Universe. We did, or maybe we just ejected them. The space had to come along again because we had to get rid of those guys. What are we going to do with all these extreme sports guys now that they're all riddled with arthritis? Just space.
Yeah, the problem was, I think the reason they didn't quite work is the Lego printing process hadn't quite gotten good enough, so they weren't putting tattoos on them.
Oh, they weren't rad enough.
And they didn't have piercings. Like, how can you have a nose piercing when you don't have a nose?
Right.
So that dialed down the radicalness.
Philosophical problems they had to face. We just can't get the beanies right on these things.
I would like to believe that there was a meeting somewhere where they discussed the idea of you can't put a nose ring on if he doesn't have a nose.
They could get safety glasses
and then
on.
Somebody's like, but what if they're First Nations? Except they didn't say First Nations.
No.
Good times at the Lego HQ. Those meetings.
I love how if you listen to all of these and string them together, we'll have recreated many famous board meetings from Lego history. I think it's like
as they happen in our mind.
Yeah, it's like that
might
TV
be
show Drunk History, but it's just Lego history. It's just us recreating board meetings from Lego.
Yes, how we would have liked to have seen them. Yes, that's nice. I like that. If we don't use reality as a marker, we could do.
I think
do
so.
quite well.
Isn't that how we get through life?
So speaking of getting through life, Lego was trying to at this point. Now, between the year 2000 and 2004, Lego only released 4 road plates and 10 other sets under the town theme or World City. Every one of them is either a re-release of a previous set or a promo item. Like I said, a lot of airplane promos for different airlines. This is definitely the lowest point for Lego Town, and it desperately needs a facelift. This brings us to modern-day Lego City theme, which was launched in 2005. Lego has released at least 14 sets in the city theme every year since its return, usually closer to 30.
Gee.
Yes, so they're doing well.
Yeah.
Lego seems to have learned from the sins of its past and is producing more interesting city builds with each passing year, in my opinion. You can also see the importance the story has gained in the Lego design process. Each of the non-polybag, the larger city sets, has a story that goes along with it, which you can easily see from the box itself, as well as in all the marketing and online videos available on the Lego website.
Yeah, so there's a coherency now.
Yes, absolutely. And the way that they're including the same minifigure in different parts, if you buy several construction sets, you'll have more than one of the foremen.
Right.
And you understand that he's the foreman because of the accessories they give him and the way he's dressed and that sort of scowly smirk they gave him. Also, the best mustache.
That's what I was going to say. It's largely the mustache.
Yeah. Like, you have to be in charge to pull that
He's
mustache off. Yes. Yeah, so it's definitely different than the how Town Plan started, where a lot of the sets were, here's a box of pieces, and you could build this house, or hey, make up your own house. Now it's very much, hey, this is a swamp police station, and look, there's a criminal in the jail cell, which he can escape from, and now you must track him down in the swamp, and that's a much more prescriptive play, I guess.
Yeah, it's suggestive at least.
Yeah.
Like kids will do what they want with it, but it's
absolutely,
I think, creating a jumping off point, because there is, I'm wondering if, they must have just looked at a lot of kids at play and found a lot of kids would build the thing, follow the instructions, and go through the mechanical process, and then not know what to do with it next.
Right.
And maybe not have the it's like the idea of story cubes or something, like where you kind of give somebody a nudge in the direction of saying, hey, why don't you do a thing with the alligator? Why don't you do a little thing with the guy in the boat? And that's kind of an important idea in making that, encouraging play and making the product more attached personally to the kid.
Yeah, definitely.
Instead of just being this thing over in the corner.
Yes. And it must work on adults as well, because
I think so.
If you walk in,
it works on you.
Well,
how many conversations have we had where you're describing to me the story behind?
Absolutely. No, I'm really big on the story.
Yeah.
I love the stories. I know there are other adult fans that can't stand the fact that like creator expert builds are getting stories to go with them now.
Yeah. You can disregard it if you don't like it.
Exactly. The fact that it's there shouldn't bother you if you don't like it. Other than I think they feel that they're spending too much time on the story and building elements that don't need to be in it.
Perhaps also makes the story makes the product seem more juvenile.
Yeah, but see, I have no problem with the fact that it's a toy.
I think some people do. I think some people, it's like, oh, now it doesn't feel like a complex building block system that I can utilize for multi-purposes.
And I don't understand why it can't be both.
Shame.
Yes. Shame.
It's modern. It's like, people, it's like guilty pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
But it makes it even guiltier for some people.
I think the other reason they need this story now is that the price points have gotten high for toys. If you're selling in Canada, the police station is going to be $120 or more.
Right.
And if you're an adult looking to buy that for your grandson or your son or daughter,
they've got to grab you with something.
Exactly. So when they flip the box over and they're like, okay, my kid's going to be able to play this way with all of this. The kid may never play that way, but you're selling the idea of...
Or it's also told those adults what they can do with the kid once they built it. And it kind of says, hey, you can build this with the kid, and then here's a thing you guys can do.
Right.
Here, adult with no imagination that's dead inside. You can play with the kid with the swamp story.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, it's I think it's all good, really.
I think so. Yay, story.
Yeah, totally.
The other thing that Lego's done with the new city line is they've really stuck to the proven sub-themes that allow for variety whilst keeping the city sets still planted firmly in the real world.
All right, take a breath.
Okay, here we go. Here are the available sub-themes they've done for Lego City.
Can you do it in one voice? Or one breath?
One breath? Let's see. Airport, Arctic, cargo, Coast Guard, deep sea explorers, construction, demolition, emergency, farm, fire, great vehicles, mining, police, swamp police, train, traffic, transportation, space, harbor, forest.
Whew.
Oh, I'm gonna pass out.
I don't have to do CPR here.
Some of the themes, like farm, they only did for a very brief period of time. And I would love a farm set so bad.
Oh, the Minecraft one almost falls in.
Almost. That's true. You at least get some animals.
So what about that square-headed farmer on the edge of town? I don't know if I trust him. He's just mining.
And
what is
on
he mining over there?
That's a good point. On my kids' Lego table, definitely the Minecraft set is right beside the town set, and they coexist. And there is definitely a plot line of
Zombies
worlds
are
colliding. Yeah, it's sort of a don't buy
post-apocalyptic.
Don't buy them from that guy. His bacon comes from a square animal. It's very weird.
I don't know what that netherrack's about over there. What they're cooking up in that shack of his.
But more farm. Yes, please. Yeah. And like some of them, like mining, I think was a really fun sub theme. The sets looked really nice, and you had some cool mountain pieces and some big equipment. Because I know my 6-year-old, the bigger the machine, the better the machine is. So large mining trucks with drills on the front of them are maybe unrealistic, but awesome.
Yeah, that's a new extreme.
Yeah.
Let's do mining.
Yeah, and then the Arctic sets we've talked about before.
Yeah. No, I love those.
I mean, it's orange. They went with orange, so
and
they had me. And animals. Orange and animals.
And there's so much story.
Yeah. Absolutely. So that's where we are today. I guess my question is for you listening out there, do you think Lego has moved the city theme in the right direction, or do you prefer the more classic town theme? Let us know. Leave a comment on the website or hit me up on Twitter. I'm at Still Sorting. And again,
liar.
No, I am still.
You're still sorting, aren't you?
Well, I had, I went into the Lego store. And then also Christmas is coming, and
this is just a ruse you've told us all.
I'm now sorting into the final places, which is nice, as opposed to sorting it into piles to be sorted later. Right. So I feel like it's big progress. I'm very excited about it. But as I was talking on Twitter with someone the other day, you're never really sorted.
No, how could you?
No, never really all sorted.
You're dead.
Yeah,
that's when you're like
unless you listen to this podcast, and then you're all sorted, because
go.
We get all sorted every episode. It's what we do.
But
yeah, we mentioned the YouTube videos in a very awesome way before.
Yes, do them. They are good.
Yes, you can find them on our website or on the YouTubes under look up All Sorted.
That is good.
Yeah,
enjoy.
We appreciate it. I feel like we hit the end, did we?
I was trying to find more ways to be underwhelming, but I couldn't. I just went silent. That's how underwhelmed I got about us.
No, they're really good. Yeah, you should check them out.
They're fun. I had fun making those.
Me too. If you want more, check them out.
Yeah,
because it takes time and effort.
And as we're wrapping up this year almost here, we're coming to the end of 2015.
Yeah.
Let us know what you're enjoying about these episodes, what you want to hear going forward. Yep. I think you're getting the idea. We're trying to hit everything, and we're not afraid to dig deep.
Absolutely.
As the Erling episode probably indicates. We'll go as deep as we need to go. But yeah, I want to explore more of these themes. I looked at the city list and thought, I like all of this. I want to talk about all of these.
And I think we will. Because we do an episode every week.
This is true.
Yeah.
So yeah, let us know what you're enjoying and what you want to see more of.
Yep.
And until next time, I'm James.
And I'm Jeff.